So here's a question that biology textbooks awkwardly skip over. When it comes to sensitivity, which wins, the clitoris or the penis? And I'm not talking about emotional sensitivity here, folks. I'm talking pure neurological firepower. Let's start with the heavyweight champion, the clitoris. This tiny powerhouse packs around 8,000 nerve endings into a space smaller than a pea. Imagine taking 8,000 electrical wires and plugging them all into one tiny button. That's the clitoris. It's like nature looked at this organ and said, you know what? Let's make this thing a sensory overload machine. The clitoris doesn't multitask. It has no other biological function except to feel really, really good. Talk about specialization. And yes, those 8,000 nerve endings are real, documented, and ready to go on strike at any moment if you treat them wrong. Now compare that to the penis, which has a respectable 4,000 to 6,000 nerve endings. Still plenty sensitive, but they're spread out like a city's road network. There's activity everywhere, but it's not all crammed into downtown. The head, the frenulum, the shaft, everyone gets a piece of the action. It's like the difference between a laser pointer and a flashlight. Both bright, but one's way more concentrated. So if we're keeping score, the clitoris wins the sensitivity championship by about 1.5 to 2 times. It's the difference between that feels nice and, whoa, okay, that's a lot. But here's where it gets interesting. The clitoris is also way more delicate. The skin covering it is paper thin, almost like mucous membrane. To put this in perspective, if you want to understand how thin and sensitive clitoral tissue is, think about the inside of your lips or eyelids. Yeah, that delicate. And here's the key biological detail. The clitoral epithelium has almost no keratin layer, that protective barrier our regular skin has, so it can't handle repeated friction the way penile skin can. It's protected by a hood for a reason, because this thing was not designed for rough handling. Even a little too much pressure, and you go from pleasure to, ow, 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 stop, abort mission. And this isn't being dramatic. This is just anatomy. When people say clitoral stimulation can feel too intense, that's not an exaggeration. That's 8,000 nerve endings screaming in a space the size of a lentil. The nervous system isn't being difficult, it's just doing its job, maybe a little too well. The penis, on the other hand, is built like a Toyota Corolla, reliable, durable, and ready for repeated use. The skin is thicker, especially on the shaft. To give you a reference point, the skin on the penile shaft is kind of like the skin on your inner forearm or the back of your hand, definitely more robust than facial skin, with more elasticity and built-in durability. The head might be softer, but it's still got more structural integrity than clitoral tissue. Basically, evolution designed it to handle friction and contact on the regular. In engineering terms, the clitoris is a Ferrari. High performance, high maintenance. The penis? That's your dependable Toyota. And then there's recovery time. After intense stimulation, the clitoris can be like, nope, I'm done. Don't even look at me right now. It either becomes hypersensitive, where even a breeze feels like too much, or it goes temporarily numb, like it just ran a marathon and needs a Gatorade. Recovery can take anywhere from a few minutes to half an hour, depending on the person. The penis? It bounces back faster. Sure, there's that brief, too sensitive window right after orgasm. You know the one. But generally speaking, it's back online pretty quickly. Think of it as the difference between a sprinter who needs a long cool down versus someone who can just shake it off and keep going. So what's the takeaway here? The clitoris is the more sensitive organ, by a lot, but it's also more fragile and needs more careful handling. The penis is less sensitive overall, but way more durable and quick to recover. Neither one is better. They just have different personalities, different needs, different operating manuals. And if there's one thing we should all learn from this, it's that communication matters. Because whether you're working with 8,000 nerve endings or 4,000, nobody comes with an instruction manual. Pay attention, ask questions, and for the love of all that is holy, be gentle with the delicate equipment. Because here's the thing, bodies aren't fragile, they're intricate. Understanding how they work doesn't just make the science interesting. It makes pleasure more comfortable, more enjoyable, and way less about trying harder and way more about trying smarter. So if you just learned the secret of 8,000 nerve endings today, don't be shy. Hit that like button. Your fingertips have nerve endings too, and they deserve to feel the joy of clicking subscribe. And remember, biology is wild, wonderful, and worth talking about. So let's keep doing exactly that.